Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Choose Pinas. Once again, this is episode 10. That's why I'm trying to look...
Wow, 10 already?
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to look like a 10 today. And speaking of 10...
You're like more like an 11.
Oh, thank you.
11 feet tall.
You mean 11 inches tall.
Sorry, this one.
Thank you. Thank you, though, for that vote of confidence, Emil. By the way, my name is Mandy.
My name is Emil.
And welcome to the show. So the 10th episode is actually in honor of our 10th guest, who is also a woman. Last week, we had Miss Celeste Cortezi be a guest here on the show, and we had so much fun with her. And hopefully, this time around, this boss lady who we're going to be talking to today will have fun as well. Let's get to know Miss Angela Green. Hey, Angela.
Hey, there you are. Hi, Angela.
Very lovely woman. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
So how have you been? I mean, tell us more about yourself first. Like, what do you work with? How you got into the Philippines? You know, all those things. Can you please tell us about it?
All the fun facts, the one-pagers. I've lived in the Philippines for about 5 years.
Wow.
I moved out there with work. Yeah, I work for a BPO. So I've lived out there. Right now, I'm in the U.S. I'm trying really hard to get home, thanks to this lovely pandemic. But it'll be nice when I can get back.
Aw.
Nice.
Yeah,
wow, 5 years, that's a long time.
5 years. That's a long time. Exactly. Sorry, Emil?
It feels like it was just yesterday, and it feels like it was 10 years all at the same time. I originally came out for 2 years and extended 2 and then extended 1, and it just keeps going. I love it.
Wow. Lovely. So far you've been loving it. So question is, how did you get in here in the Philippines in the first place?
Yeah.
So it was with my job. I work for a BPO that has offices in the US and the Philippines and all over the world. And I came out with a client for a work purpose. It was June of 2015 and fell in love immediately and moved out in September of 2015. So I had to get back. It took about 2 months to get everything together and then made my way out.
Wow.
See, Mandy, I told you, it's either love for a woman or love for a job. You're still going to end up staying in the Philippines.
Good job, definitely.
Yeah, good job, definitely. Good to know. Good to know, Angela. So you're from the U.S., right? Yeah,
originally born in Texas and then lived in Florida for about 10 years when I came out.
Awesome. So you're in Florida right now?
Right now I'm in Louisiana with my family. It calls it its own pandemic fun.
That's I guess that's something that we could talk about in another time, in another episode. Yeah. So would you mind telling us what you do for work, what you do in the BPO company?
Sure. I'm a VP of Client Solutions. So I basically work as liaison, if you will, between our partners and our business itself. And then I support some US-based telcos. So I spend a lot of time on Zoom meetings. That's what I do for a living, is I talk on Zoom meetings.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just making sure that we keep that connection between our partners.
That's amazing.
BPO was my first job when I landed in the Philippines 11 years ago.
Was it? It's funny, it wasn't my original career. I had a background in entertainment and then hospitality, and I stumbled into it. I just had my 11-year anniversary with the company, so I stumbled into it for something part-time, and then it took off from there, and I've traveled a lot.
Wow.
Lovely.
Indeed. I'm actually slowly adapting into like Emil's vocabulary, saying lovely to everything.
Yeah, I just love the word lovely. It's like so lovely.
Reflects to all our guests. Okay. All right. Angela. Oh, wait. Do you have any questions, Emil? I'm sorry. I've been talking.
No. Go ahead. I mean, 2 versus 1. Most probably lose tonight.
Very corporate professional.
So I just want to ask, like, okay, you're basically a boss. You're basically a boss woman. How if
Feel like
you're
that most
gonna
days.
if you're gonna get applicants, what are you looking for, basically?
Most of it's personality. It's really having the, heart and wanting to help others. If you don't want to help, then it's not the job for you because it's not an easy job at
Yeah,
all.
absolutely.
People aren't usually calling in to say, "Hey, just wanted to let you know I'm happy with your company." So, you're usually dealing with a lot of uh, overcoming objections and adversity and folks that you kind of got to turn that around. So you really have to have a passion for customer service and making people happy.
That's right.
Obviously, good work ethic, which isn't a problem in the Philippines. It's one of the things that I love the most
Oh,
about our staff is a really strong work ethic and wanting to make sure that, you're always there when you're supposed to be and you're always coming to work. And it's something we can sometimes have a challenge in different pockets around the world,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of the things that I love about my team.
Awesome.
wow.
So during the pandemic, how have you guys been doing? Like, how's business? How's work? How have you been adjusting?
Well, I think as far as business goes, in the line of account that I have, that business is always going to be a necessity. We always need our cell phones. So
Okay.
business itself has been fine. Obviously, the challenge that all companies are going through right now is ensuring employee safety first,
Yeah.
and then ensuring that the business is able to run within those standards. So that's been something that we've obviously worked to overcome. On a personal level, it's obviously
Yeah.
challenging. I'm
Yeah.
used to traveling. I was going back and forth from the US to the Philippines about once a month for a while because of meetings, and I got accustomed to living on a plane and out of a suitcase. Now I'm living out of a suitcase, but very different, feel to it. So that's been a bit of an adjustment. The initial lockdown, because I was in the Philippines, I've since
Okay.
got stuck here because of travel
Wow.
restrictions changing. But when I was home and the lockdown, obviously it's just your world kind of just figures out what your new schedule is. But there's some silver linings that came out of it too. We had the necessity of ordering things to come to us versus us going out and going to the store. So we were able to
That's
find
right.
like
Yeah,
local
exactly.
farmers to be able to get fresh produce. I found a dairy in Batangas that I didn't know about that I now
Oh,
get all my
wow.
yogurt and milk from. So there's some cool stuff that's come out of it too.
Yeah. So I was actually going to get to that. What are the other things, like work-wise, that that this pandemic highlighted, like the best things that this pandemic highlighted or made happen to you?
From a work perspective
Yeah.
or personal?
Work.
Yeah, from a work perspective, I think the biggest thing it highlighted to me is that I've made the right decision for the specific company that I work for, just
Oh,
because
Okay.
of how they put people first a lot. And it also made me just really have a lot of love and respect for my team because, I've got it's funny because I typically have a pretty balanced team. It used to be predominantly male, then it was kind of half-half. And right now I have a predominantly female team. I've just been so proud
awesome.
of these women, just like putting their boots
I'm
on
gonna
and
lose
headed out.
tonight. I'm gonna lose tonight. Anything I say is like 2 versus 1, so I'm just gonna listen
No,
tonight.
No,
that's not the goal. But no,
yeah,
I've
this is
got
not
some
the goal.
strong women on my team who, as soon as it happened, they were the ones that were out there going door to door to our employees
Wow.
and making sure they were safe.
Wow.
And it's just made me really proud of my team.
That's amazing. So I was also going to get to that question. What do you think is like the most powerful thing that women can bring to a workforce, and especially in the corporate world?
It's funny. It's a lot of conversations that we're having these days really is around that topic. I'm a regional board member for our women's board that we have globally,
Awesome.
and then I also am a
Wow.
part of our diversity and inclusion team that we have in the Philippines. So it's a topic that for all minority groups or groups that may not have had the strongest voice historically speaking in the corporate world that we're starting to ask. And one of the things that always forward with women is just their passion for others. And they're really being able to look out for the team and ensure that they're good. And then just passion in general, like we've got a lot of fire inside of us. So when you release
That's
that
true. That's
in a
true.
corporate environment, it's very successful.
And to add to that, like for example, in my businesses that I have, I'm always are surrounded by women. I think it's also, I don't know if you agree with me, but peace and order also, when there is a woman in the workplace, it kind of like harmonize everything, make sure that everything is okay, nothing goes out the line. So that's why, I mean, so much love for women in the workplace.
Also because your
I do
wife's
as well.
watching you right now.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
also because my wife is watching me right now, so I have to say that. No, just kidding.
There's a
Me and
script
Dave are
right
going
in
home
front
safe
of
tonight.
you. There's a script right in front of you and a gun.
No,
No,
It's
I'm
really
just
funny.
kidding. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
So anything else you'd like to add to that, Emil? I'm sorry, I forgot.
No. That's it. I mean, I'm proud to hear that Angela is has a strong team, especially in pandemic. I've seen a lot of. I'm actually I wanted to know more about it because I've seen a lot of BPO laying off employees. But then hear it from you, I'm happy that there are certain local company that actually went after the employee to make sure that they're safe, make sure that they can still continue support their family and etc. I mean, that's lovely. My favorite word.
Yeah, and it was we actually put together a global kind of a team that was just really working on figuring out how to navigate as things were going, because as you guys are well aware, it was changing by the minute sometimes in the very beginning when we went in lockdown and figuring it out. So that was the absolute first priority. And if anything, most of your BPOs, when you compare it to other businesses in the country, are still hiring right now. I mean, you're constantly going to have a need for a lot of the services that we support. So it's still a business that is both safe and available.
It's good to hear. That's some sort of a, what do you call this? Security that this business is still going to keep on going. And, eventually all the other businesses would also like rise up and get on, moving on.
Angela, we want to know more of you instead of work. Let's move on from work, go more on the.
I got to go straight into that after this.
You've been in the Philippines for 5 years. You come from a country that, it's completely different, right? I mean, you live in Texas and then you said Florida, if not mistaken. What, things that you think are similar to where you come from that you found in the Philippines?
Similar. I think just a general affinity for pop culture has been very, similar. I learn about artists quickly in the Philippines as I would in the US. So that's been nice. It's not like I've had to, adjust my music style or anything. When I first got out there, I was amazed at just the love of basketball, and I think that's something that everyone bonds over a lot is, the sports and love of basketball, because especially with different, teams that I'm not a huge, I love the game, but I don't have like a specific team. So just being able to talk about the sport in general is kind of is fun. And then I really love, and I come from the South too, right? So it's obviously regionally different in the US. There's a lot of different things, but the South is much more warm and, hospitality. Everything revolves around food. And so I felt very kindred spirit in the Philippines because I felt the same, right? Like we're always talking about food. I could probably have an entire segment on food.
Awesome.
Really?
So we're going to get to that. Yeah, let's dig into that. What is your favorite Filipino food?
It's hard to find food in general that I don't like. But of course I love like a good party with like full lechon. I like inasal. Like when I first got there, it was a safety net for me. Like I worked in off EDSA in Greenfield District, and there was a Mang Inasal across the street, and that was the first thing I learned about. And I think I ate there every single day for like the first couple of months. Really good. I love soups, but obviously you think of soup as a cold weather or when you're sick, so I don't get it as much as I would like. But like bulalo and chicken tinola with lots and lots of chili. I like both of those. I have, if salpicao is on the menu, I'm getting it no matter where we go. Lots of my friends, like, we like to eat kind of like pica pica style. So like, that's a perfect one, right? Like you can put it in the middle. I have a tradition when I travel very early internationally, and there's this one little place that I get beef tapa for breakfast every time before I leave the country. It's like I need it before I go. And then, of course, I have a sweet tooth, which can be cured immediately in the Philippines. My very first love when I got off the plane the first time was someone handed me an ensamada, and I was just like, lard, bread, cheese, yes. Like, what else do I need in life? And then I could keep going, but what I'll stick with now is I'm on a personal mission to turn all of my American friends into lovers of the gluttony that is halo halo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Extra
it's
delicious
amazing.
one. So I try to convince everyone when they come in, I'm like, just ignore that there's corn in it. I promise it's good. You're going to love it.
Yeah, halo halo. I mean, I love it, especially when it's summer. It's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of
You know, I'd take it anytime. Even if it's raining in the Philippines, I'd eat halo halo.
Yeah, that's true. Have you tried balut?
I have not. I am texture sensitive is what I try to tell myself. I just I have no desire for it. I have lots of friends who eat it. Not been something it's funny because we used to have in the office as a joke, like when any foreigners would come over or expats would come in, that would be the first thing that everyone would convince them to try, obviously. But I skipped out on that stuff.
What's the most exotic food that you've ever tried here in the Philippines, like in any of your travels?
I don't know that I've had anything super exotic. At some point in time, I've tried, like crickets and things like that, when traveling. I had a liquor that had like a scorpion and one that had like a cobra in it, and that felt very exotic, and I felt it for like a week after.
But that wasn't in the Philippines, right?
It was in the Philippines, actually. It was like at this little bar in QC, and they convinced me to try it.
Yeah, there is. I know it's like a liquor. I'm not sure if it's lambanog, but inside the bottle there is an actual scorpion, right?
Yeah, a scorpion and like a cobra or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So that
I've tried that. I tried that before.
That's the most exotic thing that we've ever tried so far. What about food in the Philippines that really reminds you of home? Let's say you get homesick a little bit. And what's your comfort food? What's the food here in the Philippines that you eat to remind you of home?
No, actually, it's funny. I think if I'm thinking like Filipino food or if I'm thinking just food in general, because that was another thing that made it easier for me. The first 8 months when I moved out there were very challenging for me for a number of reasons. I moved out by myself. I had never really visited before, so I wasn't sure what to expect. A lot of different things. And obviously there's a lot of US chains. So that was the first thing that would make me feel home is go to like Chili's, which, is blasphemy to even say on here when we've got so many options. But I would go there and, get kind of like my home. But now that obviously I've gotten past that, one that you're going to laugh at that makes me think of home is like chicharron. Because in the South here, we have pork rinds.
Pork rinds.
Yeah, and it's my go-to road trip snack. So that's one that definitely just kind of connects the two for me. I think that salpicao was kind of one of the first ones like that. It reminds me a lot of like a beef chips and rice that we do at home with a lot of garlic and really good cuts of meat. So that one's kind of nostalgic for me as well.
Wow. So you see, there's not a lot of differences actually. I'm sorry, what?
I told you, I like food a lot.
But I have a question. You, Angela, you grew up in Texas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, in Texas, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys are heavy on beef, steak, right?
Yeah, barbecue a lot.
Barbecue in general.
Like smoked barbecue. Yeah, smoked and barbecue. So,
when you got
and then
here,
I live right on the line of Louisiana, so I did a lot of seafood too.
Wow. That's why. Yeah, seafood. I was getting there because I've been before in Texas and I just love Texas too.
Is
it because of the seafood or the barbecue?
Oh, the barbecue is so good.
I think they have this. They do like there is like this smoked steak that they put it inside this huge wooden oven and they let it cook for like so many hours, and then when it gets out, it just breaks by itself. And Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds like a
Forgot the name.
brisket. Yeah.
beef brisket. Yeah. And it's funny, I have a really close group of friends in the Philippines, and some of us live pretty close, and we do like Sunday barbecues and things like that. So we'll get meat and kind of do Texas style barbecue, or some of those. So I get a lot of that as well. So I don't necessarily.
If you
get
need
that
two
much
extra
into
guests,
it.
me and Mandy are here next time.
Yeah. Or we could bring her around.
Invited to the
right?
next one.
Yeah, invited to the next food trip. We'll bring you around Maginhawa or wherever. Yeah.
I would love to do a food trip. I have a good friend who used to live in the Philippines. She's in the U.S. now, and I'd done radio for a while. And I always tried to convince her to do like a travel food show so that I could tag along. So I'd love to do that. I like to see like regionally what everyone loves. Hey, any opportunity to eat. I'm gonna get so many notes from my friends after this. Like, you realize all you did was talk about food the whole time.
That's all right. That's fun. I mean, basically, it's one of the things that bond us together.
That's how we congregate. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's how we bond and congregate. We travel specifically to go for food. We map our agendas around the food that we're gonna eat. So
That's true. That's true. Guilty. Guilty as charged.
Same.
Right. Good. So what's the most notable place that you've been to in the Philippines because of the food that you ate? Like, okay, if you go to this place, this is exactly the type of food that you think of.
It's funny because even mentioning the fact of traveling for food, most of that has been other areas in Asia outside of the Philippines. I think the first one, I would travel to Cebu a lot. I have lots of friends in Cebu anyways, but
yes.
I had a particular love for lechon in Cebu versus what I was getting in Manila at the time. And you're going to get me like kicked out of the country comparing places and their food, but that was one thing that I would crave when I would get there.
It's fine. Cebu is well known for the best lechon.
Yes, I mean, a lot of people try to copy, but Cebu is always like the champion for lechons. And then there's always like a different in every like city, or let's say a barrio, there's always like a different recipe that just stands out among the rest.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that I said if there's like salpicao on the menu, I get it. I see that is even, a little different regionally.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's got like different vegetables in it. Sometimes it's heavier on the garlic side. So that one's kind of cool to me. Just, you can usually get a flavor for, the area just based off of that. I think another thing that I used to travel for in the Philippines back when I got to travel more is, when I first came out there, the like microbrewery boom was kind of happening, where you were getting a lot more like really good small batch breweries for beer in the Philippines with like local flavors. So I did a lot of traveling with that, and a lot of them are in Cebu as well. You've got a few there that you could go like taste it and meet the people who make it, and go up to Baguio. I love to go to Baguio for like a good weekend relaxing trip. It's a lot different. So there's some there. That was kind of cool in the beginning too.
Nice. So what are like the top 3 places that you've been to in the Philippines? Like unforgettable places.
You love the most.
Yeah.
This is hard. This one is super hard because I love that so many areas are so different. I think Baguio has a place in my heart just because of it was my first time getting out of the metro and just seeing, how different it could be. I like a little bit cooler weather. I like to be able to throw on a sweater. Fresh air was good. So it definitely holds a place in my heart. I think the first time I went to, obviously beaches it's uncomparable. Like you can't compare it to anywhere else in the world. But the first time I went and was just like, I'm looking at a postcard was, we went to El Nido, we went to Palawan, and that's just, and it was also 5 years ago. The airport was smaller, less people were coming in. It was, still a little quieter in some areas. And so that was really like the first time I was like, where do I live? Like I live in a postcard. And then we like to find kind of untouched, haven't really started booming yet, beachy areas. And I'm not going to name any of them because we want them to stay that way for as long as they can. But I think that would kind of fit into a space of, the third space. As long as you can have options for food, I'm good.
Exactly. So
Love.
you have no qualms about hotels and stuff as long as it's a beautiful beach, yeah.
I mean, it's funny because that's some other stories I'll tell you some other times. I've gotten myself into some crazy hotel situations along the way. You know, I can be a little picky when it comes to accommodations, unless I know that I'm going to something that's a little more off, the beaten path.
Yeah.
As long as I feel safe while there, and there's been a couple that for other reasons I didn't, but as long as I feel safe, I've got some of my own amenities with me, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Nice. You should visit CDO when you come back to the Philippines. Mandy
So
will
I
host
have
you
been to
around.
I
CDO.
have
been to CDO.
Oh, there.
We have a site CDO, so I've been out a few times. But this is where I'll need you, Mandy. I haven't done any of the cool stuff. I've literally just been like, I met with some government officials there. I went to the the office, but I haven't whitewater rafting and all the cool stuff that I hear.
We'll take you. We'll take you when when all this is over and you're back here. We'll take you. Yeah.
Choose Pina will take care of you.
I'm literally making lists of all the promises I've gotten. I'm going from food trips. I'm going.
Yeah, I just think that the whole tourism business is going to be up and running once this pandemic is over. Like once all the borders are opened again and we're all free to travel and it's all safe. I think it's going to go back to business, and because everybody's just so cooped up in our homes right now doing work and or other hobbies, right?
I think people are itching to get out. I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we have to. I mean, it's sad to say, but we have to live with it.
As soon as everyone feels safe again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what can you say?
But it's good to look forward to things, right? So one of the things that we look forward to is actually having you over, bringing you to some places, feeding you some good food, letting you chug some nice old beer or like locally crafted ale. That's one. That's a lot. Yeah,
you have to enjoy it. I like how many of them have like local flavors too. There's one, it's the brewery in Cebu, and it's just a sweet couple. And they had one that's like green mangoes and salt.
What?
So I mean, I couldn't drink. Yeah,
Really?
The beer itself tastes like that. And so that was kind of cool. They use a lot of local flavors.
That's interesting. Super
green
interesting.
Green mango salt?
Yeah, it's like, I mean,
wow.
I know that's not what a lot of, people, I don't do like, what is it, the shrimp paste, I don't like do that. So like, I put them in salt and it has like a very like pungent flavor that way.
Fun, interesting. You see, she's been to a lot more places in the Philippines than we did, and tried, and tried more food than we probably ever did. We should be more adventurous, Emil.
I hear that sometimes. No, I hear a lot, and I think that we suffer from in the U.S. also. We tend to travel outside of our normal area.
Yeah, I figured. She's great.
Outgoing.
Yeah, you guys are more outgoing than Filipinos ever are. So how did you adjust to those things? Like personally, how did you adjust with work, the new normal and stuff?
I don't think I've ever spent this much time of my day on the phone. I'm used to being out, like actually working with my team, seeing how things are doing, having face-to-face. And I'm not super keen on like the video chatting as much as, you would think. And so it took a while to adjust to being on video, and then always having, like earbuds in my ear. I need to invest in a really good headset.
It's funny because because before the pandemic, it's like I would tell my son, stay off the phone, you go and do school manual and play with your toy. Now, stay on your phone and iPad because you have to go to school and everything is, online.
Everything is online. What are the other things that you guys haven't used since the pandemic? Me personally, I've never used my earrings. Like, I never got to use my earrings.
I got smaller ones.
Right?
I wear a lot less lipstick. Because obviously with the mask when I go out, like it's gonna get all over my face anyway.
I don't use lipstick, so don't worry.
Can't relate. But what about you, Emil? What about the guys? I know that some of you like forgot to use how to use pants anymore. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I still wear pants. I mean, I
Get
still
pants
have
on.
pants though, but no, I didn't use wax pomade for my hair for
Oh,
so
right.
long because I was always at home. It's either cap or I don't wear anything. And then slowly lately, because I'm going out sometimes in the office and etc., then that's the time. But if not, yeah, other than that, oh, shoes. You know what? I've been using the same pair of shoes since the start of the pandemic.
Exactly.
Yeah, I live in socks now. And then this is kind of my like go-to. This is just piled on top of my head. My mom is really funny because if I come through, I'm staying with her right now. And if I come through with like my hair actually like a blowout and straight, she's like, do you have to be on camera with someone important today? I'm like, I just want to feel good.
Same thing here at home. Like every time like I put a lipstick on or like makeup or like I do my eyebrows, my fiance goes like, oh, you're gonna stream? Okay, I'm gonna lower my bandwidth. Like, yeah, there's just that simple understanding of those things. So
Yeah.
Angela, we want to know what you'd like to say to like people or women specifically who want to conquer the corporate world. What would you want to tell them?
Start my seminar. I think step one is just really having a good understanding of what your strengths are and, not being afraid to showcase those in an office environment. I also think that obviously as the corporate world evolves and becomes more aware of the need for diversity and inclusion as a whole, some of the historically negative connotations of a woman have gone out the window. Like, it's okay to show emotion and care about your team. It's okay to be impassioned when you're speaking. So I think finding the adjustment for that. And then I think what's really important is just find a good mentor. Find someone who you can, attach yourself to or, watch them in the business environment and learn from. That's one of the things that we're even doing at work. We started a new mentor program and just doing it in a very structured way so that everyone could feel like they have some support and sharing their stories. So if you find someone who you respect who they are in the environment, the workspace, to learn from them, I think that's really important.
Wow. Angela, you're
Yeah.
so inspiring. Just listening to you.
I know. I'm learning so much
Really?
already. I mean, okay,
Wow.
basically in our respective industries, it's traditionally been like dominated by men, but now women are rising up the ranks, and thanks to a
Yeah.
lot of series on Netflix that are like showing the same, I mean, situation, it's just been normalized little by little, and it's important to have this conversation every now and then so that people learn and it reaches to all like corners in the world.
It is. And I think also is I think there's obviously some preconceived notions of what that might mean in the past, but as the boardrooms have started becoming more diverse, people are really opening their eyes to that. Means you have more creative thinking as a whole. When you have people from different backgrounds and upbringings and who have a different view on the world, then you can have a more complete conversation than just 9 people sitting in a room and saying and feeling and thinking the same thing. So that has come a long way in recent years, and for all typically minority groups.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, we look forward to having more of this conversation in the future, but for now we're out of time. But thank you so much for spending time with us today. Thank you. We learned so much.
I'm looking for you when I come back.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. Please do look for us. We promised to bring you. Actually, all of our guests, we had to. We like so far. We promised like 9 people to go out with them, hang out with them.
Ladies
but don't worry, we're gonna
throw a party.
Yeah, we're gonna throw a party.
Most probably.
When everything is safe, when we have like super easy contacts to get antigen tests done, sure, let's do it. We're looking forward to meeting you. Yeah. So, how can we find you? Do you have do you want to promote your social media accounts? Any cause that you're supporting? Anything?
I am definitely not a influencer. And you'll be very bored if you go to my social media, but by all means, feel free to check it out. It's actually Angie No IG. There's a story behind that. I'll tell you some other time. So ANGINOIG. But like I said, you'll be pretty bored. It's when I'm back to traveling, it'll be a lot more food and places.
Awesome. Yeah, I think you're still fun to talk to about food. We're pretty sure we learned so much about, places. We didn't even know about that beer or like that drink that you told us earlier. Now we're going to look for that. I am super interested. I am super duper interested. So
I'll
yes.
have to find the actual name of it and I'll send it to you. But
yes,
thank you
please.
guys so much for taking the time.
Oh, thank you too. Thank you. It was so early.
Thank
You
you.
woke up so early today just to talk to us. Thank you so much for
us.
giving us a chance to get to talk to you and get to know you even better. And hopefully a lot of people, got her message. You guys, you ladies out there, you'd be so inspired to work so much more and, handle things in the corporate world in the future. So thank you so much, Angie. And
thank you.
Catch you guys next week. My name's Mandy.
My name is Emil, and please don't forget to share this episode. And for those who will type their name on the comment, we're gonna issue some stickers. We're gonna start giving away some Choose Pinas stickers.
Awesome.
So
yes,
please
just
don't forget
your
to share
name.
and comment.
Awesome. Yes. And please do follow at FM1 Manila Facebook page, at Mandy Nocom, and at _Emiliano Romano for my partner. We'll see you guys next week.
The Philippines. Aside from our lovely islands, people from all over the world love coming here for the Filipino hospitality experience. Would you believe that's exactly one of the reasons why some of them yearn to stay? Well, there's actually more to it that we Filipinos don't even realize. Let's meet people who came generally from first world countries and have fallen in love with this beautiful, humble country of ours. This is Choose Pinas.